New Year to you and welcome to Earthfile. I'm Ayola Kasim. 2016 had so many stories involving human-caused climate change. Some good, some bad, but majority had so much impact on our lives. For instance, 2016 is the hottest year ever recorded. But then, how did the year go? We'll start right here in Nigeria from Rivers State and the south region of the country. Do stay with us. In June 2016, President Muhammadu Buhari set in motion a $1 billion cleanup and restoration program of the Ogoni land in the Niger Delta.
This cleanup is for the benefit of the people of Ogoni land and other surrounding communities in the Delta and to the glory of God.
Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo was joined by former Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Programme and other dignitaries, announcing that financial and legislative frameworks had been put in place to begin implementing recommendations made by the United Nations Environment Programme. The implementation is based on recommendations from a 2011 UNEP report commissioned by the Nigerian government on the impact of oil extraction in Ogoni land. It examined over the course of 2 years the environmental impact of oil industry operations in the area since the late 1950s. It found that oil contamination in Ogoni land is extensive and is having a grave impact on the environment, with pollution penetrating further and deeper than previously thought. The report found severe and widespread contamination of soil and groundwater across Ogoni land. In a number of locations, public health was severely threatened by contaminated drinking water and carcinogens. Delta ecosystems such as mangroves had been utterly devastated. The report also found that institutional control measures in place both in the oil industry and the government were not implemented adequately. The UNEP report proposed the establishment of a restoration authority with an explicit mandate to clean up Ogoni land and restore the ecosystems. The report also recommended the establishment of an Ogoni Land Environmental Restoration Fund with an initial capitalization of $1 billion to cover the cleanup costs. Requested by the federal government of Nigeria, UNEP's environmental assessment of Ogoni land was released in August 2011. The cleanup is vital for the future of the region. It will help create new livelihoods, establish old livelihoods, and change the lives of 1 million people. It will also establish a new model for working towards sustainable development, even in the most challenging of environments.
I want to say to the people of Ogoni land that, first, the restoration that is going to take place here is not just a restoration of your environment. I pray that it will also be a restoration of families, a restoration of your wealth, a restoration of your health, and a restoration of everything that is good about this land.
The environmental restoration of Ogoni land is likely to be the world's most wide-ranging and long-term oil cleanup exercise ever undertaken. Experts suggest that it may take up to 25 years until ecosystems are fully restored.
Mr. President had formally...
Few days after the launch of the Ogoni land cleanup, River Ogun became a news focus, and not for the right reasons. Members of the Sanasa Sand Sellers Association of Isheri, it was not the best of time for their businesses, and this issue was not related to the economic downturn. The trouble started on the night of Friday, the 17th of June 2016. A high wave brought in a large quantity of seaweeds, water spinach and hyacinth. The following morning, many of the villagers cry, "This is a divine occurrence. It has never happened before." For the sand dredgers, the weeds had blocked the pathway to their money-making ventures.
There is no opportunity to walk at all because there is no thoroughfare. We are simply watching. This job is our source of livelihood.
Isheri Olofin is a populated place. The estimated terrain elevation above sea level is 37 meters. The Ogun River is a major source of income for many people in Isheri Olofin. But fishermen here have had their fortune reversed by the menacing plant in recent times.
The majority of the seaweeds and some wastes that were disposed into the river upstream combined with trees, and as they were washed down the stream, the flow was stopped by the bridge.
First of all, that place has intense human activities. There is a market which is buoyant every day of the week, and there are debris that are generated, there are waste generated, and the people don't dump it anywhere but into the stream. And this has been going on for years, decades. Therefore, all the refuse, all the domestic waste, all the other wastes that are being dumped have been accumulated over the years. Now, since these domestic wastes are accumulated in that particular portion, the sediments that come naturally through the river channels just merge up with the sediments, and there is a huge accumulation. Normally, the sediments are dredged by local people who want to sell sand. But because it is mixed with dirty domestic waste, nobody dredges it. So it's accumulated over the years. And that becomes a very fertile ground for the water hyacinth to thrive.
Ogun River is a significant river in the western part of Nigeria. The river is a waterway that rises in Oyo State near Shaki and follows through Ogun State and discharges into the Ikorodu axis of the Lagos Lagoon. In densely populated areas, the river is used for bathing, washing, and drinking. It also serves as a drain for mostly organic wastes from abattoirs located along the river's course.
That are already sink.
Scientists have also found that Ogun River around Cattle Market, Isheri along Lagos-Ibadan Express Road is being overstressed by pollution loads mainly from the cattle market, and the pollutants can be said to be from the cattle waste, feed, slaughterhouses, and runoff from the busy express road. Hence, the water around the market is being polluted. This needs to be checked since accumulation of the pollutants over time will have detrimental effect on Lagos Lagoon, which is the final sink.
Well, for heavy metals and even the organic pollutants, heavy metals, they can cause cancer. The modern day diseases that we did not used to hear of in the past that are here and are still coming up, they are caused by all this. And so some heavy metals, can, and the organic pollutants can affect reproductive system, nervous system, and cause cancer. And in the body they are called xenobiotics because they are not useful in the body. They're not supposed to be there. There are some regulations and so on that have been put in place, but they're not actually implemented. That is one thing. So when the stakeholders, when those in charge of making regulations, put regulations in place, they should try and see how they can get them implemented and monitor the activities of the industries, regarding to waste, both solid and wastewater, solid waste and wastewater. Monitor those activities, and also I think also environmental NGOs should come in and sensitize people on what to do. Even in the discharge, on the disposal of waste, people just bring, in developed countries, people know how to sort waste. It's not everything that just goes in, If you know how to put this here, put this here, put this here, and we know all plastics will go back for recycling, recycling should be encouraged. So if we're able to sort our waste.
And in July, the Nigeria Hydrological Agency released its annual flood outlook for the year, and the projections do not look good for most metropolitan areas of the country.
Coastal flooding should be expected in Bayelsa, Rivers, Delta, Ondo, and Lagos State. When they see rise, what are we to expect? And so that is why so much will be done by our people. The Niger, the Benue, the Sokoto Rima, Anambra Imo, Cross River, Niger Delta area, the Komadugu Yobe, up in the northeast, Ogunshu, southwest, and several other sub-basins of the country would be affected.
Also in August, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency issued its advisory on the rainfall situation and prospects of flooding in August through October 2016. The NIMET observations and projections were also in agreement with the 2016 annual flood outlook that was released by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. The combination of all the advisories put around 33 states on the danger list. An estimated 105,000 Nigerians were affected. The floods wreaked havoc in Kano, Zamfara, and Plateau states, less than a week after the NIMET warning. According to the Kano State Relief and Emergency Agency, at least 5,300 houses were destroyed by flood in 6 local government areas of the state.
745 victims were recorded, where their houses were destroyed by the flooding. Chanono, 58 victims. Garimalam, local government, 996 victims were recorded, where their houses were also totally either destroyed or blown off. At Bebeji, 403 farmlands and some houses were totally either washed off, and some houses were blown up or destroyed. 403 victims were affected.
While in Zamfara, 801 were displaced, and in Plateau State, livestock, bridges and farmlands were washed off. In Ogun State in the southwest of Nigeria, residents of Ayetoro community in Abeokuta experienced the predicted flash flood after a 3-hour downpour. Many lost valuables.